This research is cooperation with Hiroki Satake and Michiko Hamada. You can find their works in the exhibition. Maybe you can have a look later. So the title is Mokuhangaholic. I know you are also crazy about moku-hanga, so that's why you are here. This is a research for the people who make moku-hanga in culture center and private art club. My interest is why Japanese people have been making moku-hanga more than other countries. In the last International Mokuhanga Conference, I did a presentation about moku-hanga in art class in elementary school and junior high school. Japanese people should have an experience of moku-hanga and making moku-hanga in the childhood. That's why everyone knows moku-hanga, even it is such a negative memory, like cutting the fingers. On the other hand, moku-hanga is pretty popular with retired people as a hobby. Sometimes they are absorbed in moku-hanga. In this my research, I would like to reveal why moku-hanga attracts them. His name is Shigeo Mohara, 68 years old. Maybe no one knows. When he retired from the drug company at the age of 60, he began to learn moku-hanga in Student College in Sagamihara City. The Student College is for the people over 60s who live in Sagamihara City. He took a class for 1 year and learned moku-hanga. And the printmaker, Hiroko Furuta, she is a head professor of the Tamai Art University now. He has made New Year's card in moku-hanga, but he hasn't made large-scale moku-hanga before. This is the latest on his moku-hanga.
Wow.
Six wood blocks with 8 colors and over 10 passes. The size of the work is about like 45 centimeters by 30 meters. He spent 2 months for carving wood blocks and 2 weeks for printing. He woke up at 6 in the morning, like every day, and worked for 3 hours, like every day. This is the detail. The space where he used moku-hanga has no air conditioning, so getting too hot in the summertime. So that's why he had to walk up such a high time. He loves to go to antique market to buy old stuff. Most of the carving knives are from the market. Also, he makes knives by himself using the piece of spring clock. Like this. These are knives he made. He used grinder for sharpening. These are also from the market. He found maybe one printmaker used them before. And also he made stone strips for the sharpening backside of knife. He used the bearing barrel. Now he is really interested in making barrel as well. Maybe he's really interested in a class of making barrel by the Goto-san. This is also his moku-hanga. He made in October 16, so last year, 2016. He made many prints for finalizing his moku-hanga. He keeps carving and printing many times. Also trying new materials. He used some different type of inks, such as dry pigment, pigment paste, powder pigment, student paint as well. He's very passionate about challenging new materials, tools, and techniques. This is his ongoing moku-hanga. He has been working with this work for 5 months now, but he's not satisfied yet, especially the crowd and the reflection. He talked he needs to carve some more that part. Actually, he only has 8 years experience of the moku-hanga, but his technique and the knowledge of the moku-hanga is very high. He attended 2 moku-hanga classes and a pottery class. He also loves traveling. His work from photographs he took during traveling. He's a very serious and a right-handed person. But he's a really typical type of the person who attends the moku-hanga class in Japan. This is a list of moku-hanga class or private moku-hanga club in Japan. Top is Hokkaido. Hokkaido, Aomori, Iwate, Fukushima, Ibaraki, Tochigi, Chiba. Next page. Saitama Prefecture. Then the green is Tokyo. So basically there's, so in the list there are like over 200 moku-hanga clubs in Japan. Basically there are 3 different types. One is moku-hanga class organized by major newspaper companies, such as also the TV companies, such as NHK or Asahi or Yomiuri or Mainichi. They are called culture center. For example, NHK Culture Center, Asahi Culture Center, Mainichi Culture Center. Culture center is a Japanese English. It means like adult education class or lifelong education program. Anyone can take a class which you would like to learn, but most of them are housewives or retired people. Continuing. So over like 200 moku-hanga art class. Then this is a leaflet NHK Culture Center in Hachioji City. They have like 258 different courses covering all categories, like such as literature, language course, calligraphy, photography, painting, pottery, cooking, piano, guitar, flower arrangement, hula dance, and Japanese dance, and yoga, like everything. So moku-hanga is one of the courses. Like that. Normally they have a class once a week or twice a month, and depending on the course. Each course lasts 6 months, like half a year. People need to register and pay the course fee. It depends on the course, but if you take the class once a week, they will charge about like $200 US. And also they charge a registered fee, $50, but if you are over 70, it will be free. Japanese people are very serious about filling a time with plans, especially the housewives who have completed their child raising roles, or retired people who have no particular hobbies. I visited 8 different private moku-hanga clubs and culture centers in Tokyo and Kanagawa and Hyogo. It is the west side of Japan. This is the private moku-hanga clubs. It's called Mokuhan 23 in Sagamihara City, which Mr. Mohara belongs in. They have 30 members in total. 70% of them are men. They have a class twice a month, start at 9 to 12 o'clock. The membership fee is just $20 US a month. They are founded in 2012 by 5 original members, and then they had to find teachers by themselves. She is Michiko Hamada. You know, her work was awarded.
She's so young.
She's about nearly 30. So this is the moku-hanga artist Michiko Hamada. Is a teacher of the moku-hanga club. The young female teacher is very popular with many members. Always welcome. She's a graduate of the Tama Art University, which has further for moku-hanga education. His moku-hanga career is 80 years. His work is also very nice. So like that. Actually, their technique of carving and printing is very high. He has also been making moku-hanga for 10 years. He is 80 years old now. He makes beautiful moku-hanga. He also makes carving knives by himself. He used to work as engineer. Once a year, they have exhibition in the city hall. So they are very happy to show their works to the people outside of moku-hanga club. They only showed works, never sold. Yeah. Because if one of the members was successful, the friendship with members will sour. Never sold works. So just showing the works is their pleasure. So very photographic, a good work. So making black white. This is another private moku-hanga club in Ayase City. They have 8 members at the moment. His name is Arai. Mr. Arai is head of this moku-hanga club. He's 85 years old, but he still has a passion for moku-hanga and making new moku-hanga. His moku-hanga career is 20 years. It's more than me. This is the work, new series of work, which are based on the map of Japan. Like this. Mrs. Shimizu makes beautiful landscape and flower moku-hanga. Like this. He makes carving knife by himself again. He only uses hangito. He makes this one with only the hangito. He carved letters, every letters and of heart sutra and printed. He recently used the laser cutter for his moku-hanga. He likes a new technique and he makes very challenging works. He used to works at a construction company. You can find his work in the exhibition as well. I'm really surprised he submitted the work in the conference. Like this work. Laser cutter moku-hanga. This moku-hanga is also using the laser cutter because he'd like to make his drawing lines, but he has no techniques for carving like drawing lines by hand. So he used laser cutter for that. He has also a big passion for making moku-hanga. Please have a look. This one. This is the woodblock. This is the print. So he cut each figures of crane by hand because he thought it was more flexible to think the composition, and also unnecessary ink does not stick to the paper. So this is the print. So in this survey,
can you go back 2
yes,
slides?
This one.
Yeah, which are we looking at a print?
This is the block.
How?
This is the print.
I don't understand.
Actually, he painted each crane
Oh, this is,
by hand. Then print.
I see. Thank you. I think I see.
So So actually, I interviewed like over 100 people who are attending the Mokuhanga clubs and the culture centers. But I've got totally 79 questionnaires. About 70% of people are men. The average age of the members are 70 years old. There are 2 people who are over 90 years old. Many Mokuhanga clubs have minimum age of requirement of 60 years old. It is the age of retirement from the company, so that's why they decided 60. So this is the time to start something to do for happy and productive life after the retirement. So in the survey, I gave the questionnaire. I asked them answer 8 questions. My first question is, how long have you been taking Mokuhanga class? More than 10 years. I talk 5 to less than 10 years. Most of them have over 1 year Mokuhanga experience. Many male members have started it at the age of 60. There are 2 people who have been making Mokuhanga for 20 years, over 20 years. So have you ever made Mokuhanga before taking class? Like expect art class, art schools. So 52% of them answered yes. Most of them have made a New Year's class Mokuhanga for a long time. So what triggered you started Mokuhanga? So many people started to Mokuhanga in adult education class or like lifelong education program when they retired. Also, they are still keen on making New Year's card by Mokuhanga, even it is getting like old-fashioned culture. What is your favorite thing and what is fun making Mokuhanga? Half of them answered they like carving and printing process, especially carving. They really like. Do you make Mokuhanga even outside class? 84% of people said yes at home. They like making Mokuhanga at home, not only in the class, because in the class they want to ask questions or advices to teacher or friends. So Mokuhanga Club is like a social community place to communicate with other people. How many hours a day do you make Mokuhanga? So half of them make Mokuhanga for like 1 to 3 hours a day. They are busy for other hobbies, actually. They also taking care of grandchildren, and also they should go to hospital as well. Even though they will find the time to make Mokuhanga. What are you doing to improve your Mokuhanga skills? So they are very serious about improving their skills. So they listen to teachers or friends' advices really carefully, and also going to the exhibition to see others' works. Also trying to different materials, colorings and techniques, and reading a book. And this is the last question. What is the fascination of Mokuhanga for you? They are fascinated in the process of the Mokuhanga. Most of the men who attend Mokuhanga club, they worked really hard in the company for a long time before. They are not good at painting freely, so they prefer to follow arrows, and they like to learn how to make Mokuhanga step by step. Also, they have a lot of free time and abundant money to buy materials and papers as well. So in this research, I could know how much they seriously work on moku-hanga. And also, I was so surprised their skill and knowledge is really high. However, they are like outsider artists because most of them didn't study art in college or universities. So they have started to moku-hanga when they are retired or children left home. But their career is not short, actually. More than 10 years is exceptional. There are people who are doing more than 20 years. It is longer than my career. They are kind of high-skilled amateur artists. And they are pure and serious about making moku-hanga. So their main purpose is how to enrich the rest of their life. Selling artworks or being a famous artist is not their intention. So even though we can ignore them, and we cannot ignore them and their moku-hanga works, the shops are gained by their shopping. Also, moku-hanga artists are gained by working as a teacher. But number of population who attends the moku-hanga clubs is decreasing because of aging. In the last conference, I did a presentation about moku-hanga in art class in elementary schools and junior high schools. I also explained about teaching guidelines were recently changed. Children don't have to make moku-hanga in a school anymore. Whether student make moku-hanga or not, it really depends on the teacher, art teacher. So in conclusion, the future of moku-hanga in Japan is not bright. Declining birth rate and aging society will have a major impact on moku-hanga. I think we have to see their work and evaluate them properly because private moku-hanga clubs have contributed greatly to popularization of moku-hanga in Japan. Thank you. So, do you have any questions?
How did you feel about Mr. Kono's speech? How does that relate to what's your research?
Actually, this is really real situation. I mean, it's also we need to know. Also, we need to understand from like a big view of our culture. This is also really real culture of Japanese. So I think we need something like both moku-hanga clubs in person to see their works. It's really fascinating. Because otherwise you cannot find their works in the museum or text or even the website, you cannot find it. So this is important to see in their life, also to know like big point of view.
Well, why would you think that there are so many more men than women in these clubs?
I also visited like moku-hanga class, which younger people attend. But if I go to like over 60s moku-hanga class, like 70% or 80% of men. But I thought maybe I I asked why. I also, as I explained, they really like handworks, also process.
Yeah.
So it's really related to the men's like work, I think.
Second in from the left, is that Maki-san?
Yes.
I
Makino-san is
studied
really
with him.
good teacher.
Yeah, he's a
of
brilliant artist.
Mokuhanga craft.
And was that at Tama University?
This is the Tama Art University.
Yeah.
This is open campus. So the people who attend the Mokuhanga class, we are going together to open campus. But open campus is normally for the getting new students. So normally for the young, like high school student, to get the art student to go to the Tama Art University. But they are really serious about the Mokuhanga. So they are like free trial for making etchings and the Mokuhanga. So they decided to go together to open campus.
So this is like an extension of the
Yeah, it's an
university for the
extension.
public.
Yeah.
And all these old people go to
Yeah.
learn Mokuhanga.
Yeah.
But not young people.
I'm just going to interrupt. This is really an outstanding and lovely presentation, opening so many things up. Thank you. And I imagine that some of you have more questions.
Yeah. Maybe later we.
Yes.
Yeah.
So